Hi everyone, so now we're going into another Arcane deep dive. Now, today we're going to look at character deaths. Now, I've seen some videos about complaints about how some character deaths are done well, and some character deaths are like, not enough there, we need more, they needed more time, they should have fleshed these things out. And the way I look at it is, I think that Arcane does a good job of balancing the time that they have with the time that is needed for these character deaths. Now, of course, different people are probably going to have different opinions on that. And I would love to hear your own opinions about the subject as well. So I want to start off with probably the one that's been complained about the most, and that is Skye. So Skye, I think, is gotten the appropriate amount of time. And you're like, what? It's like, wasn't it just like smashed too soon? I mean, Victor and Skye, they didn't have much interaction, right? I mean, all we're given is like a shot here in a flashback for Victor, and then we're giving a couple of shots where Skye is, asks, Victor to like walk her home, but Victor's too busy with work. And then this particular scene right here, where she's just talking of, about how she would talk to Victor and try to, get him interested in her work. And then, of course, what you see is that guy gets basically killed by the device that Victor had been using to, power himself up. And just kind of it ended up in a bad way, and she turned into ash. Now, looking at that, you're like, okay, so Victor, through his indiscretions, killed Skye. And then, he reads a book and he cries about it. And it's like, how? Why is he so like upset? He's like, he's hadn't had this relationship with his character. And I understand it. And I understand. The thing is like, you have to look at scene here. So Victor is, of course, in this area that's probably pretty close to the lanes, or kind of one part near the Undercity, if not actually on one side of the Undercity. I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's on Piltover side because we see Heimerdinger here before. And Victor is like, I'm not even sure what to do with the ashes. So obviously, Victor and Skye have hardly any interaction, period. And Victor is so much into his work. So it's not like, oh, if we added another episode or a whole season of episodes of, different character interactions, that there would be any real difference because Victor is so interested in the work. And why is Victor so upset is simply because he has been so kind of enthused about his own work. He initially was working on this to make everyone's lives better. That was kind of his goal. But he got so focused on the short time that he has and on the fact that he can now not only affect things, but affect biological things, so that maybe he could cure his own disease, and got focused so on that thing that it ended up that he killed someone by accident. And not just anyone by accident. He killed a person who had been doing research, who had been helping his work, who probably, as Victor looks, someone who is a decent researcher, and just snuff that person's life out by his own doing, probably in his mind. So, if you think about that, I mean, even if it was like someone who had hardly any relationship, like like you killed someone in an accident, car accident or something, it's like that person, was a very capable person that you killed, and so that would be upsetting, no matter not, even if it's not a close relationship. So I don't feel personally that any extra time would really help the situation in here. It's just like you screwed up, and it caused Victor to, of course, uh, make that kind of very fascinating quote: "Is in the pursuit of greatness, we forgot to pursue good." And this like wonderful quote. It's just fabulous, and it also, of course, that scene in and of itself, when you're actually looking between Victor and Jace, and is of course looks at his hammer when Victor asks that we need to destroy it because Victor had his own lesson. So Victor, of course, was egged on by Vi to attack Silco's factory because you get rid of the factory, it should solve the problems, right? No big deal. So that means this is the first time we're going to use hex tech weapons. It's something that he'd be encouraged by Mel indirectly. And so this is like the right thing to do. Boom, done. And what ends up happening is that he accidentally kills the kid by accident. Now we have no background on this kid, even less than Skye. All we know is later that this kid is the son of Remy, one of the Kim Barons in the underworld. That's it. Nothing more. The importance of this particular death is the fact that it convinces Jace to make a deal with Silco. This is very, very important. It's not like, okay, because this kid who like probably had no more than a few seconds of screen time, we should put more screen time to this kid. We should get to know what this kid likes, what this kid doesn't like. What is his relationship with his mother, Remy? I mean, what is he doing in the factory? What is his hopes and dreams? It's like that really won't help us. I mean, sure, like when we look at the fact that when Jace, ends up killing him, you may think, oh crap, maybe you'll feel sorry for the kid, or you may not like Jace as much. But it's like, given the time we've given 9 episodes, is that additional information really needed? I think no. No. On a personal opinion, it's like you look at the fact that, Skye's character pretty much almost pushed Victor over the edge to actually commit suicide, and it's kind of easily to understand that from Victor. I mean, Victor's not a fighter, and Victor was doing this for the people, not just for himself. And then he realized that he basically betrayed his own values and accidentally killed someone. I mean, if you look at the fact Jace just murdered a kid, you would think this would give him, post-traumatic syndrome here. I mean, this is not something that, I mean, he was like high adrenaline cortisol. He's killing all the bad guys. And, remember, before that, when he was like on the bridge scene, he was throwing up because, a bunch of guards got killed in a really gruesome manner. And here he's like, he's okay that he killed a kid. It's like, well, at least, I mean, not really okay, but okay enough that he doesn't lose his lunch, and it doesn't look like it weighs incredibly heavy, but enough that he's going like, whoa, we're not going down this path anymore. This is not a good thing. So let's just get a deal with Silco and call it a day here. This is not going to end it well for anybody. So both of those deaths, while none of the characters who died are actually well developed, but serve a very strong plot point. Now, when you look at that, you think, okay, but Arcane actually did develop characters and kill them. So, of course, if we look at, for example, Milo and Clagger in this group right here, we get to know these characters. We get to know these characters in the first episode and the second episode. And, everyone, works together to try to save Vander. And when you see the final scene in episode 3, just like punch to the heart there. Like, situation. And these, it's kind of what you kind of compare almost exact. The death of Vander is incredibly tragic. Right after where Vander gets beaten up, is thrown down, is like almost down for the count, and he goes for the shimmer, and he bounces right back up, and he kills the mutant, and he's going to get Silco because Silco is the guy that has caused all kinds of problems. It's either Silco or saving Vi, and he chooses Vi, he sacrifices his life, he dies. It's like, wow, situation. And, it ends up the way it is. So, I mean, that happening in the first 3 episodes, it kind of almost asks for comparison. Like, when you look at the case of Skye or the kid, it's like, couldn't we have similar character development here? And you look at that as like, no, don't need it. Now, at least in the case of the kid and also in the case of Skye, these were two characters whose death had significant impact in the plot. Now, there are other character deaths that don't. I mean, when you look at the fact of characters such as Benzo, Benzo gets killed in episode 3. And sure, Echo is upset. But, he cries and that's that. But it's next time we see Echo, it's not like he talks about it. He doesn't mention it ever again. I mean, it's on the mural and done. If you were to look at, for example, the case of the red-headed girl in episode 4 that Jinx just murders. And again, Echo in that moment, I mean, has a fast, so we're not sure it's Echo, but I mean, there's a lot there that pretty much points to it. he flips out. He almost goes at Jinx, but Jinx, brings up her gun and he gets away before getting shot up. So obviously, some sort of relationship between Echo and this girl. But again, she gets put on the mural, and we never hear from again. We don't know if she's served any significance to the development of Echo's character or whatever. We don't know. But in any case, what we see here is how Echo deals with death. He properly mourns and properly moralizes these people. This is probably just to keep his own sanity, because if you look at how he handles death of characters, he's way more healthier than Jinx. And Jinx is like, of course, in the case of Echo, he hasn't murdered anybody, but Jinx, because she killed people and she doesn't really want to own up to it, of course, causes her unlimited amount of just mental problems. And not only that, she, of course, ends up killing Silco. Of course, this has huge actual, issue ramifications as well. A very, very important character who gets killed. And not exactly an unceremonious way. It's like, boom, by accident, dead. So you have that, which is it's a really interesting contrast between how Echo handles characters' deaths and Jinx handles characters' deaths. Very interesting. Now, all of that, though, of course, if you look strictly at the case of Echo, the characters that died that he felt close has no impact on the plot. And then there's one character who just gets killed, who is like there, and even the characters don't care so much. So if you remember Marcus, and I did a video on Marcus, here's a character that most nobody likes because he's a prick. I mean, he not only is a prick, he's pretty much stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he can't probably make the heroic decision. I mean, it's not available to him. So there's nothing there that makes you want to root for him, and he dies. I mean, just kind of a thing on the bridge. Jinx just kills him. Boom, dead because of a situation. So it's like, this is incredibly unceremonious. I mean, he just dies. After he dies, it's like the only thing that we really see or hear about him is the fact that Silco is like, well, he did serve a purpose. And that's about it. So I mean, this is probably like the character with the least impact on the plot and the least impact on any character. He's just dead. Boom, done. Bye bye. So here you kind of see from examples of where we have characters who do have impact here and here, to characters who really well drawn out, who when you look at it, it's like really punches you in the gut. It's like you really mourn with the loss. To, of course, characters who die and like, man, whatever. whatever, who cares? I think that given what all the characters did and what all the characters have done for in the entire series, I feel it's like perfectly amount of time given the situation of 9 episodes. I don't think Skye was given a short script. I don't think the kid would needed any extra time. We don't need to get to know these people any better. There was plenty of good character development if we look at, for example, in episodes 1 through 3 for Milo and Clagger or Vander, Silco, and of course, there was a decent amount of character development for Marcus, but Marcus really didn't go on an arc, so to speak, and he gets unceremoniously just killed. Whoever has the worst death would probably be Marcus. So, I mean, that's kind of the way to say it. We have like a huge variety of types of character deaths, from characters with little background who died to characters with fairly, decent amount of background who just killed unceremoniously, to characters who have huge impact on the story and have really great character development. You get a variety here, which I think is really useful in storytelling. So if you next time you're actually creating a story, you can find all kinds of examples in Arcane of how to do each one right. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.